When President Obama returns home to Hawaii with his family, they always make time for a shave ice. Shave ice is original, refreshing, and colorful, just like Maui's local writer and educator, Tom Stevens, whose weekly Maui news column, Shave Ice, can always be counted on for posing a wry eye on Maui and the world beyond. And now, a few minutes with Tom Stevens.
The weekend's North Swell was just a wistful memory by the time I paddled out to the little reef break at Baldwin Park Monday afternoon. So there was lots of thinking time between waves. Mostly I thought about Paia and Lahaina. That morning's paper had run a front page story comparing Halloween turnouts in the two towns. The line that stayed with me was a quote from a Paia restaurant worker saying that Paia was the new Lahaina. I know Halloween was the topic, specifically which town had lived up to its merchants' Halloween expectations. But the seeming casual observation that Paia is the new Lahaina troubled me in some vague way. My board bobbed up and down in the chop as Baldwin's fierce side-shore winds stung me with seltzer blasts of spray. When an occasional set came through, I bobbed high enough to catch fleeting glimpses of one of the towns in question. From that perspective, Paia bore little resemblance to Lahaina. The East Maui town fronts a series of crescent bays, while Lahaina has a seawall, a breakwall, a broad roadstead, and a harbor. Ocean rain squalls drench Paia on winter mornings. Lahaina drizzles barely flirt with the town before retreating back up Mount Ball. From the ocean, other differences are readily apparent. Despite its sugar mill's demise, Paia's back slope remains a cool, vivid green. But once Pioneer Mills shut down, the land behind Lahaina turned a dusty red-brown, and it stayed that way. From Paia, you can see only one other island. From Lahaina, two. Weather-wise, Paia is a showery windward place. Lahaina, sun-baked lee. The two view planes differ in other ways as well. Surfing off Paia, you have to look all the way to Wailuku to see high-rise buildings. Surfing off Lahaina, you can see high-rise crowded shoulder to shoulder just down the coast at Ka'anapali. The seaward view from Paia includes distant windsurf and kiteboard sails. Lahaina's seascape is more varied. Inter-island ferries, charter boats, canoes, sailboats, snorkel boats, warships, submarines, much different. On the other hand, that bartender may be right. If recent history can be trusted, Paia could be Lahaina with a 20-year lag time. Back in the 1960s, when Paia was still a moribund and little-known plantation town, Lahaina was already flexing bohemian muscles. Artists were flocking to Lahaina, selling paintings from car trunks and park fences. Condos and resort hotels were springing up nearby, sending into Lahaina a growing army of coin-heavy, quaintness-seeking tourists. Swanky boutiques, restaurants, nightclubs, art galleries supplanted the humble old mom and pops along Front Street. Famous musicians anchored their yachts in the Lahaina roadstead. Before everything reached a default setting of ABC stores, celebrity art galleries, and big chain surf and turfs, Front Street had a certain raffish charm. Wily scrimshanders plied a gullible public with tea-stained antique ivory, while zombie-like whalers, missionaries, and Hawaiian chiefs competed for gawkers at the town's wax museum. There was even, for a regrettable time, a restaurant specializing in endangered species. Bob Marley and the Wailers played Lahaina Civic Center. George Benson played the Blue Max. Much of the town's endearing quirkiness vanished in the 1980s when Maui decided to court the carriage trade by becoming the world's favorite island, or something. Once Chris Hemmeter plunged his millions into the Hyatt, Lahaina began taking itself way too seriously. Paia, meanwhile, was quietly waking from a long post-plantation slumber. Kick-starting the town's commercial comeback was a SWAT team of water sports visionaries who pioneered high-performance board sailing at nearby Kanaha and Ho'okipa, By the 1990s, East Maui's roof-rattling winds were recognized worldwide as a peerless resource for speed sailors and big wave surfers. Jaws and kiteboarding followed. Rents tripled. The rest is history. As wealthy young Asian and European wind seekers put Paia on the world's pleasure map, swanky boutiques, restaurants, nightclubs, and art galleries supplanted the humble old mom and pops along Hana Highway. So in a sense, Paia has become a new Lahaina, if only by following a similar trajectory 2 decades later. But as the old maritime maps warn, "Arr, there be monsters, matey." If Paia is smart, it will maintain its current raffish, low-rise, small-town cosmopolitan charm, resist the siren song of North Shore resort development. Once the hotels and high-rises go up nearby, Paia truly will become the new Lahaina. And that will be one sad Halloween.
That brings us to the end of tonight's program. We thank you for spending some time with us. We hope you enjoyed our first program and that you'll join us again for future editions when we'll look further at the many important issues facing Maui County today and tomorrow as we continue to work to protect Maui's future. If you'd like to see this program again or record it or share it with your friends, you can order it to be shown at any available time on Akaku Channel 54. Go to akaku.org, click on Program Channel 54, then in the keyword box enter Protecting Maui's Future. Aloha.